Good evening. I'd like to call to order the March 17th meeting of the Poquoson Planning Commission. If you are able, please rise for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. Give us wisdom to make good decisions, patience to listen, and a spirit of fairness in all that we do. Help us to work together for the good of all, guiding us to build a strong and lasting future. Amen. Mr. Hirsch?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome those who are joining us in the audience this evening, as well as those who are joining us at home on the TV. We are going to move into item C of our agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from the work session on January the 23rd. Does anybody have an motion to approve these minutes? And they are approved as amended with a clarification. Was it in the work session or the regular session minutes?
The regular session. Correct?
Okay,
Yeah.
Then they're to be approved as submitted. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes with the amendment correction.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Armentrout,
Abstain.
Commissioner Hartley,
Aye.
Commissioner Hirsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager,
Aye.
and Chairwoman Schott.
Aye. Next, we are going to approve the regular session minutes from the 23rd, and these are amended with a name modification as well as a vote. There was a change with a first and second motion, and they have been submitted to our clerk. If I can have a motion to approve those minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes with the noted amendments.
Second?
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Armentrout,
Abstain, please.
Commissioner Hartley,
Aye.
Commissioner Hirsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Peterson,
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager,
Aye.
Chairwoman Schott.
Aye. We are now going to move into our audience for visitors portion of the agenda. Now, this is a portion of the meeting that the audience can come up and speak to us regarding an item that is not being considered at our public hearing portion of the meeting. Does anybody like to come up and speak regarding any other topic not related to our public hearings tonight? Seeing none, I'm going to close the audience for visitors. I'm going to move into public hearing number 1 now, under item E, and this is a conditional use permit by Gregory Shaw. Mr. Cannella, I believe you have our presentation this evening.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. I'll try to be mindful of your time, but do the application justice. It's a conditional use permit application submitted by Gregory Shaw. He's the applicant and the owner of 8 Rochambeau Drive. His request is for a full-size pickleball court to be constructed in his front yard. A full-size sports court is not a permitted use in the RS single-family zoning district, and therefore is before you for consideration. This was advertised for legally, postponed from last month's weather cancellation. This is per the application about the use in the words of the applicant. He wishes to construct a private pickleball court at the property listed 8 Rochambeau Drive. The current zoning, again, the RS single family zoning district does not allow a court in the front yard of the property. The property's front yard is off of any main road and not visible from any main roads. There's also a substantial natural buffer around the proposed location. This is the site, 8 Rochambeau, obviously at the terminus of the road, and the trees you see around the parcel is basically a conservation area of the lakes at Poquoson. It's part of their wooded area. This is, you can see the proposed court location kind of in the middle of the picture to the bottom. This was submitted by the applicant. You can see how far it's offset from the property line and the front of the home. And my note there that it was submitted by the applicant, prepared by the applicant, and shows the location, the proposed location of the pickleball court, which is 30 feet by 62 feet. This is the end of Rochambeau looking into the applicant's driveway. This is in basically the same spot looking towards the front of his home, and behind the trees and vegetation there, you can see where it lightens up a little bit. That's sand that is in the location of the court. This is from the driveway looking towards the house. The cleared area there you can see is the proposed location. And again, this was taken from the applicant's front yard looking back towards the end of Rochambeau Drive. You have the details of the court in the materials and the application. A few are important to highlight. This being one of them. The lighting details of the court. There will be 2 lights affixed on either side of the court, and they're at a 90-degree angle so that the lights will only light the court and, of course, some portion of the applicant's property, but will not spill over to adjacent properties. Typically, any CUP you all consider are the permitted uses in the district. These are the permitted uses in the RS district that you're all very familiar with, one of them not being a full-size sports court. We don't permit it by right, and that's why the consideration is before you tonight for recommendation. We have worked with the applicant through conditions that we recommend you all include should you make a motion to recommend approval, and those are: 1, the plan for the site shall only be approved once all the requirements from the code are satisfied. In this case, basically meaning he'll have to pull all permits necessary for what he wants to do and meet all other applicable sections of the code. The second is that lighting for the court shall be affixed consistent with the plan shown in the application. That's the lights I just showed you on the last slide, affixed so that it only lights the court and so that it is concentrated to the court. No lighting shall spill over to adjacent properties. Yes, we have a light meter. Yes, we can measure this. If there is light spilling over to adjacent properties, we can measure that. The applicant shall maintain all existing trees and vegetation as shown in the application and staff presentation. Literally the pictures I took of the existing trees and vegetation that exist on the property, he has to maintain those. At such time any existing tree or vegetation is removed, it shall be replaced in an effort to screen the use as required and determined appropriate by staff. Things happen. We have a storm, a tree goes down. The expectation, and as required by the condition, Mr. Shaw would call staff and consult staff, and between him and staff would determine an appropriate means to screen the use as provided by whatever tree or vegetation would no longer remain. The 4th condition, the court shall remain private in nature and shall not be used for charitable, commercial, or competition purposes. This is a condition to ensure that this does not become, I'll say, a public attraction, that the applicant's, not going to be hosting 80 people a weekend to come play pickleball on his private court. the applicants has expressed that it's for personal use, and the intention is not for any tournament play or commercial purposes, and this condition ensures that. The fifth condition, this is a carryover. You always see that the use must comply with all local, state, and federal permits, licenses, and regulation. If any time the use is operating in violation of the regulations set by the aforementioned agencies or the conditions listed herein, the city council may revoke the permit. That's any part of our code, to include the noise ordinance, which has been raised as a potential concern. And the sixth is that city council reserves the right to review and amend the conditions as the permit as they see fit. So those two conditions are the catch-all, the carryover conditions that more or less guarantees that the applicant will operate in a manner consistent with the conditions and with other applicable parts of the code. If not, city council can revoke the permit, and he wouldn't be permitted to continue the use if approved by city council. There's some other information in your packet, and I'm sure you all had a chance to read my memo. There is a letter there from direct adjacents that they had no objection to the project. I also shared with you all some materials prepared and shared with you from an adjacent property owner, and you all have that in front of you and received it on Friday. If there's any questions I can answer at this time, I'm certainly happy to, but I do see the applicant here if you have questions for him. But Madam Chair, this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Anybody have any questions? If not, we can always circle back to that. I'm going to open the public hearing for the public to address the Planning Commission. I do ask that you state your name and your address for our record, and if you'd like to raise your hand, we will proceed with the public hearing. Sure.
My name is Bob Small. My address is in Newport News, but I spend a lot of time at my mother's in Poquoson. And my mom is here today. And also I asked Larry Townsend to be here because he prepared one of the inserts in a package which I prepared objecting to this request. And I thought that his letter might generate questions from you all. And if it did, I wanted him to be here to answer them. The first thing I'd like to do is, if I might, the other morning when I came out of the house at my mother's, it was much brighter than it was the day that I took the pictures that were in the notebook that I presented to everybody. So if I could ask, may I pass these out? These are. Just provide me the stack. Oh, okay, thanks. Appreciate it. And actually, they kind of mirror one of the pictures that was up on the screen earlier, and that is the fact that this pickleball court is not obscured from the property. It is visible. You can see where he's laid the sand to build it, and you can see that from different locations. The other problem, so I'd ask you, and I asked at this point that the notebook I provided and these pictures be made part of the record in relation to this. So the next thing that I wanted to bring up is to walk you through some of the conclusions in the material I submitted in writing ahead of time. If in tab 7 there's an article related to pickleball, and it talks about the description of pickleball as being ping pong on steroids. It talks about peak amplitude exceeding 120 decibels. That's when the ball hits the paddle. It also talks about the difference between impulse noise and background noise. Tab 8 talks about the impact noise of the ball being 120 decibels and sometimes at a peak as high as 135 decibels. Tab 9 talks about, and as an example, that's a nail, a hammer into a nail. Other descriptions that apply are chainsaw. So the noise that a chainsaw generates, 106 decibels to 120 decibels. I can tell you that when Mr. Shaw had the trees taken down, in order to put the pickleball court in, we could clearly hear those chainsaws inside my mother's house. She lives on Rochambeau Drive right at the end. And so in order for the pickleball court noise to blend into the background at 60 decibels, the background noise would need to be 1/2 mile away. At night on Rochambeau Drive, the background decibel noise level is less than 60 decibels, so it would even have to be further away. So a pickleball court less than 1/2 mile away is a problem. A pickleball court in a neighborhood, according to these articles that I researched, is a problem, whether it's the front yard or the backyard. But the front yard is particularly problematic for you as a commission, because once you approve this, then anybody else in Valmore can walk in and say, oh, I'd like to put something like that in my front yard. And then you've got to get into building buffers and these types of things. The other thing about the article in tab 10 is that sound barriers are not effective. They've been tried in many, many places. They don't really work with regard to pickleball. When you have seen them in the articles and different things, they're tall fences with padding and screens going up as high 8 feet to 10 feet. That's not what you see on the screen. What you see on the screen is whatever existing trees Mr. Shaw decided to leave behind when he cut out the spot for the pickleball court. So and at tab 17, I gave you the figures because the research that I did concluded that a pickleball court, especially adjacent, such as it would be with my mother's property, is a real depressant on the real estate value. First, people that don't like pickleball are not going to buy a house that close to a pickleball court. And you won't know it necessarily because they won't tell you that's the reason. But the literature shows that a pickleball court too close to another residence can reduce the value 10 to 20% on a sale. And for my mother, I've given you the numbers, but it's quite significant. $65,000 to $148,000 in potential loss. So the other thing that I would point out is in this presentation done just a minute ago, the one thing that was left out is that Mr. Shaw is not only asking to build a regulation-sized pickleball court, and I gave you a photograph of what that painted looks like, and now that's going to be lit up at night. If I can see the sand through his trees now with just natural lighting, when he lights that up at night, even if it doesn't, quote, spill over, when you drive down Rochambeau Drive, you're going to see it. It's going to be obvious. And why does he want it at night? Because he wants to play pickleball at night. Well, that's even more disturbing for my mother, okay? Her peace and quiet and the peace and quiet of Rochambeau Drive will be ruined. My parents bought that house in 1985. They didn't build it until 92 when my father finally retired. But they bought that lot because it was a dead-end street and because it would be a quiet residential neighborhood. And when the Shaws built their house, if you look, they positioned it at the far back end of their lot. And they have put behind them a swimming pool. So there is recreational activity there. How they chose to put it on there, if they had to put it on there for whatever reason, the fact is they don't have a backyard. That's why they're asking you to let them put it in their front yard. But again, the front yard is a problem because it is closest to the residences. I also gave you letters from 2 other homeowners on Rochambeau Drive that are objecting to this. I did talk to Mr. Shaw about our opposition when he came by to get my mother's signature. It was very pleasant, but 2 of the people that have signed his letter are back almost around behind his house. And one of the people that signed his letter is directly next to the pickleball court, but on that side of the house, they have no windows. They would not be overlooking it. So the bottom line, though, is that a pickleball court is a nuisance. And I was surprised when I got into researching it how big an issue this has become. It has become a nationwide issue. It's resulted in litigation. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention I am an attorney. I apologize for not saying that up front. But it results in litigation, it results in all kinds of problems, and the real issue for you all in a planning commission standpoint, I would submit, is why do you have zoning districts in the first place? You have them in order for people to come into properties and know what they're going to get. Valmore Estates is a great place for my mother to live because it is very quiet, it's very peaceful. This will change the character of it. And one of the most important things about this application is not just that he wants to build a regulation pickleball court, but he wants to build a significant sized, I think it's 24 by 30, 2-foot high observation deck next to the pickleball court. With all due respect, private use doesn't require an observation deck. And private use as defined in that presentation we just saw is not what it says. In other words, if he invites friends over, if he has pickleball parties, if he has gatherings, and he's going to do it, I mean, he obviously wants to be able to do it at nighttime too. So with all due respect to Mr. Shaw, I think that his ask is just too big. It's not fair to the character of Valmore Estates nor Rochambeau Drive. And it's not fair to my mother as an adjacent landowner. And so given the fact that it will completely change the character of the neighborhood, I would ask you not to approve it. I would also point out that it says that he's not on a main road. And if you see, most of the trees are on the other side of the lot. But he wants to put the pickleball court on the side closest to the other homes and where there are fewer trees. I'm not sure why that's the case, but that's what he's asked to do. And I think this is near a main road, Rochambeau Drive. And if you drive down Rochambeau Drive and this is installed, it's going to be obvious that it's there and it's going to be lit up at night. And so I would respectfully say that this is too big an ask, given what I believe Poquoson desires in its neighborhoods. And I just close by saying, if you approve this type of use in this type of neighborhood for Mr. Shaw, you're going to open up a Pandora's box. Because the next thing is people are going to want to put in a full-size basketball court. Or maybe more people will want to put pickleball courts. And the more pickleball courts you add, the noise issue only gets worse. So I would ask you to take into consideration everything I submitted in writing ahead of time, including the expert opinion of Mr. Townsend, who's been a realtor for 33 years. And he has said it will negatively impact my mother and her property if this is allowed. And so I'd ask you all to take that into consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So much. We appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak regarding this? So raise your hand. Yes, sir.
I'm Greg Shaw, owner and applicant, applying for this conditional. That's my wife Kim back there. If you don't mind, I'd like you to look at this sketch here.
Can you give out? Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So while he's passing those out, I've been a resident in Poquoson for 50 years, quietly lived on this street, built that house 21 years ago, and intend to be there another 21 years. Recently retired and love pickleball. Pickleball is a great game to keep moving because that's what you got to do when you get old, keep moving. Conditional use permit for pickleball court. First thing I'd like to do is I'm sure everybody understands what a pickleball court is, but let's review that. It's a slab of concrete. In this case, the court size is 22 by 44. The slab is usually 30 feet by 60 feet in order to handle the zone of not falling off the concrete. It is ground level. It would present itself as nothing more than an extension of my driveway. So from a standpoint of visual, it's not like we're talking about a building or something that you can see a lot of. As you can see from my sketch there, I wanted you to understand the footage. You do have those pictures that were handed out. And the three properties that are adjacent to me, Johnny Mercer, 100 feet, John Dickelson at 80 feet, and Carlos Ramos is 185 feet. So those people on the south side of my property, we've walked through the project with them. They had no issues. I would like to also address one of Mr. Small's main concerns was noise. It's a private court. I'm not playing 8 or 10 hours a day. I go out in the morning, I play an hour in the morning, I come back in the evening at dusk, and I play typically from 6:30 to 8 p.m. or so. So twice a day, hour and a half. It's not being used all day long continuously like a sports arena would be. Also, the noise equivalent to a chainsaw. I'd have to argue that one pretty good. I seriously doubt that's the case. It's nothing more than bouncing a basketball on a driveway. You can see that in many front yards across many residential areas. Or kids playing on bikes, or a swimming pool in somebody's yard where kids are yelling and having a good time. I don't see the noise portion of the argument quite as dramatic as presented. As you can see, it's not an ordinary front yard. There is a very large buffer of trees along the side, and I didn't see his picture, so I'm at a disadvantage, but I presented, I didn't realize Mr. Cannella was going to put pictures from my driveway in, so the first two pictures that I present on my list show the same thing he showed from Rochambeau Drive. And then the second page of the pictures are two pictures from Mr. Small's front sidewalk as well as his front porch, which I took the day I came to visit you. If you look at those pictures, again, I'm at a disadvantage because I didn't see Mr. Small's picture, but the pictures I took, you cannot see where this court is at all. The court concrete will be painted with lines on it, and the background color is green, so it'll look like grass from a distance. My main point with this whole thing is I really don't see where you can see it from any public street. All these pictures are taken in the wintertime, so there's no leaves on any trees. So when that foliage is filled in, you cannot see anything that would be related to the court in that position. As far as I'd like to just kind of address the concern about setting a precedence. I kind of had the feeling that a conditional use permit is a specific permit that has conditional uses specific to a project. So, I may not be correct, but I thought conditional use meant conditional for this situation. It doesn't set a precedence to say everybody can come get a court in their front yard. My conditions are totally different from a front yard that's off of a public street. As far as affecting property value, interesting, it's kind of I would assume a curb appeal issue. If I can't see it, it certainly can affect my property value. You won't be able to see the court. As far as playing at night, dusk to maybe 1 hour into dark is the most amount that you're going to see lighting. Lighting does not go past any noise regulation or current laws in place now in the city. Ask of me.
I would say not at this time, but we appreciate your coming out and speaking this evening.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else like to speak? Mr. Mercer?
I just want to say that I moved into Poquoson in 1985.
Can you give me your name and your address?
Johnny Mercer, 12 Jefferson Court.
Thank you.
Right. Now, I did 50 years of police work, 30 in Newport News, 20 in York County, and Poquoson. I love Poquoson. And I live right in the lower corner there on the right-hand side on Jefferson Court. It is a dead-end street. And I know both families, and I can't show no favoritism in families because but I live on the cul-de-sac. We have kids playing basketball in the streets. It doesn't bother me. The noise is not there. And sometimes some people come riding through there in a golf cart, you know, riding through the neighborhood or whatever. So just to show you my appreciation for York County, right at Shaw's driveway there is a drainage ditch that goes all the way out past Hunt's Neck out into the ocean. Well, I do it for exercise. I don't mind doing it. This is my way of my contribution back to Poquoson. But on the Shaw's side of the property, I take my lawnmower and I cut the grass for the city to kind of help the city out. This is something I just want to do, okay? And I go way beyond the Shaw's house to cut the grass on that side there for the city. Now, I didn't come all prepared just like they were, but I'm just saying that I love Poquoson. When I first moved in, and even now, the value of my home keeps going up because Poquoson is a wonderful place to live. And as far as any noise coming from the Shaw's house, even from the swimming pool, he's got a basketball court there. Sometimes I go there and play basketball, even in front of my house. Kids come in there and play basketball in front of my house, so I don't have no problem with any noise coming from there. And there is, again, when Greg was telling me about Mr. Small's complaint, now I did go in front of their house, and I just checked that wooded area, that buffer there, but yeah, you cannot see flat level ground of where this pickleball court's gonna be, so I have no problem with it, and I know I can, Greg has got the signature from my next door neighbor, so none of us has any problem with it, so anyway. Thank you for all y'all that y'all do.
Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to speak? Seeing no one else, I'm going to close the public hearing. Members of Planning Commission, thoughts, comments, questions?
Chairwoman, can I ask Mr. Shaw a question, please?
Certainly.
Mr. Shaw, looking at your sketch, and I don't know if it's to scale or no scale, but Here, is it potential that your court could also fit on the nice sized driveway that you have back here that's adjacent to Mr. Mercer's property and not in your front yard? Or could it be amended for you to do that? Obviously, you might have some potential impact from the ball home, but it might be a more desirable location to your neighbors if you considered that, so.
So earlier tonight, in seeing both packets, the one from Mr. Shaw as one as from Mr. Small, thank you.
And that was on behalf of my mom, Shirley Small.
Thank you both. I went out to the City of Poquoson map earlier, over the weekend, and printed off a map of the parcels in which you have in front of you. And for the viewing audience, this is the map of the parcels that I'm showing. And in the circled area, you'll see the Shaw's property. In the areas that are squared, 6 Rochambeau, 12 Jefferson Court, and 6 Jefferson Court, these are the individuals who signed in favor of the pickleball court. The properties with the X's on them on Rochambeau signed against the pickleball court. I rode out to the property earlier this evening on my way to Planning Commission, and while didn't enter the property because it would be, it is private property, viewed the area of the parcel. So while this is helpful, it's also helpful with these pictures that both the applicant as well as Mr. Small has provided us this evening. And so I wanted to provide that to you all, the map, because like I said, I'm visual. I like to see things where, the people who are for and against this are residing at. Jefferson Court, like Mr. Mercer said, is a area that it does go to a cul-de-sac and does not intersect with Rochambeau. You have to get back out on Valmore Drive and go down Rochambeau separately. So I did want to give you that this evening, just so you are aware of where all of the individuals who have signed for and against it reside at. But be happy to entertain a motion, or if you have further questions, certainly happy to hear them.
Just thinking out loud here, it's a tough one. I want everybody to be happy. You both brought up interesting points. Has there been any consideration? I know it sounds like you're against it completely, no matter where it's at, but have you maybe thought about just trying to, make amends or whatever, having it on the other side of the property furthest from them? Is that just not doable? Or, I'm thinking out.
And so the viewing audience can hear you at home, if you can come back to the microphone.
I don't believe any of your maps show the delineation of what is considered wetlands, does it, that you have? I did pay for a study done at this location, and it was delineated as no wetlands. But that's the only portion of my property I had them do when I built the house. The reason the house is put where it is because everything on the other side was delineated as a wetland zone.
Okay, gotcha.
Across that whole thing across on the other side. Drawings should depict that, but that's the reason I didn't go over there.
But basically, out of your whole property, I mean, the nature of the property dictated how you built your house and everything else, and that's also why you're,
Correct.
want the big, okay, gotcha.
Correct, yep, yep. Somebody's got to have a thought in their head of why I already cleared this prior to getting approval. So let me answer that if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So in, what month? July last year? Around July of last year, my wife called the inspection office and said, I want to build a pickleball court on my property. What do I have to do that? And unfortunately, we had a miscommunication between the inspection office and us. They said, you don't need anything as long as it meets the offset off your property line. So we actually proceeded to, with the construction based on that conversation with the inspection office. I had communicated, please in the future, don't tell somebody that if they call you. Please encourage them to come down, but, because I've already got sunk costs in this thing. But I ran across it because I went down to get a electrical permit for the lighting. And that's when Thomas said, time out.
Okay.
That's, somebody had to be thinking that.
Thank you. So if I can just make a statement here on this, I have read this, I've read both sides of this property proposal and the adjacent across the street neighbors and the evidence, and therefore, and this does not meet what a residential zoning district or single-family dwelling states in the comprehensive plan. It is a full-size pickleball court with lighting. And so I cannot support the application. I am apologetic to the Shaws that that information was given to you as it was, and certainly understand that, but we do have pickleball courts in Poquoson and adjacent localities, and this is a residential, single-family area at the end of a roadway, and that is my perspective on the property.
I'll give you my thought. Because this isn't permitted by right, and there's a reason why full-size sport courts aren't permitted by rights, I think to entertain approving this, we would need to be reasonably certain that there wouldn't be any adverse effects to the adjacent properties, and I'm just not convinced that's the case.
It's a tough one. To me, I think that, and it is a big difference between the two. I mean, but the lighting aspect is really overboard, in my opinion. It could almost be okay with just the court, but you start adding in lights, then you're affecting, hey, that's a whole other thing. I mean, the kids playing basketball and all that during the day is one thing, but then having a big light over the, and I know they talked about it not bleeding over, but it's still, I mean, that's a major difference to me, because, I mean, you always see light. I mean, it's just, there's always going to be something.
Peterson? Did you?
I agree. It's a tough call one way or the other. Concerned that the noise will be affecting when it's in place. Turn into a nationally controversial thing at some level. consideration. And as it's been pointed out, we do have a court in the area.
Well,
I think to consider approval of this, I would unanimous approval from all the property owners and have that, so I would,
second to deny the application.
Second.
Roll call, please.
yes to denial.
Hartley?
Aye. We're denying the,
Commissioner Hirsch?
I'm a little confused about, we're voting to,
This is, a vote in the affirmative is to affirmatively deny. So
Yeah.
if you want to deny it, you would vote aye.
thank you for the clarification. Aye.
Commissioner Peterson?
Aye.
Commissioner Yeager?
Aye.
Chairwoman Schott?
Aye. Thank you. Now we're going to move to our second public hearing this evening. We did have a work session at 6:30 on this item, and this is going to be to amend and eliminate sections of the City of Poquoson Code of Ordinances related to Plan Unit Development Mixed Overlay District. Mr. Horton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. I'm going to go back over my presentation a little bit because we had some people come in after the work session. Essentially, this is an amendment, as was correctly stated, a resolution to amend and eliminate sections of the City of Poquoson Code of Ordinances to include Article 8.4 Plan Unit Development Mixed-Use Overlay District as found in Appendix A, which is zoning, and all references there too. This was initiated by the City Council at its January 27th, 2025 meeting. And just like I read off, it was to eliminate the planned unit development mixed use and all references there too. We did advertise for the public hearings both in February, and because of the weather, we re-advertised in March. We also mailed notices of hearings twice, once in February and once again, actually in late February. The effective amendments. This amendment will eliminate the ability to apply for a mixed-use planned unit development, which currently is subject to Planning Commission recommendation and City Council approval anyway, basically. So it's going to be a City Council, whether you eliminate it or not, it's still going to be up to City Council. The amendment will not change the underlying zoning of any affected property. In other words, if you're research and development, you will stay research and development. If you're general commercial, you will stay general commercial. If you're village commercial, you will stay village commercial. The legacy development and properties within is not affected since it was initiated well before January 27th, 2025 as the Planned Unit Development Mixed Use Overlay District. It was activated back in August of 2015, August 24th, I believe. This is the area in question. You'll see the bold outline, which is essentially the legacy development. And you can see that legacy, probably takes up, if more than 50%, a little bit more than 50% maybe, but at least around half. And legacy, as I mentioned, is grandfathered because it's already approved. and they've just about built it out. I'll back up just a little bit and talk about the comprehensive plan a little bit. I don't have a slide on that, but the City Council passed a vision statement on February 10th of this year, basically stating that it is their intention to look at the northern part of Victory Boulevard. I'm sure they'll look at some of the south too, because, you know, that's an area affected by the plan unit development overlay district. But the actual nature of how they're going to go about doing it, they have not decided, at least at this point. Hopefully they'll have a little more clarity on how they're going to move forward by the time this gets to them in April. Zoning district overlay, we're going to change the language to say that there are 5 overlay districts instead of 6. And pursuant to that, likewise, Section 1-11, Districts Establishment, Zoning Map Adopted, going to be 5 overlay districts, and going to keep the environmental management, the floodplain management, the Chesapeake Bay, the technology zone, and plan unit development, waterfront, and we're going to eliminate, as proposed, the PUD-MU section of the ordinance. Purpose intent, a lot of words here, but basically what we're changing was we're taking out the plan unit development mixed use from this paragraph, and we're changing zoning districts to zoning district. Relation of plan development district and regulations to other zoning regulations. We've got several pages under this. But we're going to get rid of, in the second paragraph down there, or Article 8.4, we'll be eliminating that as proposed. And going on towards the very end of that section, we will take out Section 8.4-10, which is a plan unit development regulation, and we'll change sections to section. Permitted location of planned development district may be established in any development area identified in the comprehensive plan as a waterfront mixed use. This is amendments to existing PUD-MU developments initiated on or before January 27th and PUD-W plan development districts. This is really aimed towards Legacy, because again, Legacy was approved. They may do some amendments, I don't know, but if they did, they would fall under the planning and development regulations in effect at the time that they got their master plan approved. This is a map again, and of course we would eliminate Article 8.4, which is the plan unit development mixed use overlay district. Now the question may come up, you know, if it's planning commission and city council approval anyway, why are we going through this? I think it's just an effort for the city council to say, we do not want any more plan unit developments, mixed use, and you know, just sort of put it out there before anybody would spend a lot of money or look into it very deeply. And like I say, they are going to be looking particularly at the northern part of Victory Boulevard, looking at what the overall vision for that area will be. That's all I've got. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you so much. Do any of the Planning Commission have questions of Mr. Horton? Seeing none, I'm going to open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak regarding this application, if you can raise your hand. Yes, sir. If you could come up here and state your name and address, please. Thank you.
Arthur Johnson from 8 Oscars Court, Poquoson. Okay. But I have no idea what this was all about. Somebody could maybe put the map up and explain what is going to happen or not happen in the different colored zones, because I couldn't keep up with it. There's different colors on that Legacy, for example. and
Yeah,
I have no
absolutely.
idea what is going to be allowed or not allowed in those different colors. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, so what's essentially going to happen is in this bolded black area, that's what's already approved as part of the legacy development. That's going to continue the same as it is now. They're going to build out the rest of the legacy development. And the rest of the area that it's in the hatches, that sort of diagonal lines there, that's the area that's under the current overlay district. It has not been activated by city council yet, but that area would not be available for activation in the future. So that's really what's going on. You probably got a adjoining property owner notice, is what I'm gathering, is that you got that. It will not affect anything on your property, but, the legacy property, the legacy will probably develop pretty much the way it always has. I think they have that area in back of our parking lot left to do. But it's really going to affect, probably more than anything, north part of Victory Boulevard. In as much as it affects anything. I mean, like I say, city council has to approve it anyway, so.
Of myself, that little narrow triangle down there with the crosshatch in orange and crosshatched, Oscar's Court,
Yes.
the part that's crosshatched up against the boundary, that was supposed to be a wooded area. Is it going to remain that way?
That's part of the legacy development, and it is still shown on the phase 2 and 3 site plans to be garden plots and a treed area. Okay.
Yes, sir? Hi.
Bob Moses. I own 200 Fountains Lane. I live at 89 Sandy Bay Drive. Wally, thanks for presenting this. Just one quick question. The Fountains of Poquoson property, part of it has the black diagonal hatches on it, and part of it does not. And I guess that's the PUD, Mixed Use Overlay District. Is that in any way going to affect my development going forward?
It's not going to affect your development, no, because your development was done under the village commercial zoning regulations.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I'm going to close the public hearing. Motion or further discussion?
Just quickly, when was the crosshatched overlay area put in place? Is it part of the previous?
It would have been done well over 10 years ago.
Okay,
Somewhere in 2012, 2013.
Thank you.
I will say that the sort of, I don't know, the edge, the triangle at the bottom of it, that was actually initiated back in August of 2015, just before they approved the whole master plan. So that was an actual addition.
Commissioner like to make a motion, approve or deny the application?
Make the motion to approve, please.
Or a second? Hirsch was second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Armin,
Aye.
Commissioner Hartley,
Aye.
Commissioner Hirsch,
Aye.
Aye.
Chairwoman Schott.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Next, we are going to move to public hearing number 3, and this is a rezoning request submitted by Wayne Harbin in reference to the Village Park of Poquoson development. Mr. Cannella, would you like to proceed with your presentation this evening?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. The consideration before you is just as read by the chairwoman. It's a rezoning request submitted by Wayne Harbin. He is a residential builder and has built previously in the city. He was the builder, the developer of the existing Village Park neighborhood. And essentially, this request is to incorporate an adjacent parcel to that that's currently zoned B1 office professional to rezone it to R3 multifamily to be included as part of the existing neighborhood. This is per the application, per the applicant's words. We've owned this property for years and have not had an opportunity to sell it commercial. The last inquiry was a gas station and would not have been a good fit for the community. We'd like to build 6 additional townhouses on the property. We have met with the HOA Board of Village Park Townhouses, and they were very excited with the plan. This is the site in the tax map parcel. Approximately there, what I've outlined and read is the parcel under consideration. And as previously mentioned, it's zoned, currently zoned B1 office professional. This parcel and the parcel in the rear has been subject to legislative action a couple times prior to this consideration. The first, I believe in 2005, the property was zoned both B1 and R3, but it was only 2 parcels and it split along the property, I would say, east to west. And there was a very skinny B1 parcel, there was a very skinny R3 parcel, neither really feasible for development. And the applicant, after his purchase, submitted application for the zoning lines, the boundaries to be manipulated that would allow him to put the B1 parcel in the front, how it currently exists, and the R3 multifamily parcel in the back. That galvanized the development of Village Park as it exists. There was a later application that dealt more so with the types of homes that were conditioned. Originally, I believe it was 27 condominium units. He later asked that it be amended to 26 townhomes. It was approved by council, and that's what currently exists, 26 townhomes. And this request is to rezone the parcel in the front from B1 to R3 for the construction of 6 more townhomes. The permitted uses for the zoning as it exists are office and professional uses for persons such as physicians, engineers, lawyers, opticians, surveyors, banks, similar professions, public and semi-public uses, courthouses, churches, government offices, parking lots, and then public utilities. This is the 2015 development plan that was submitted and approved for the construction of Village Park. On the western side, you can see as a common area, there's a gazebo and a grill there. The vast majority is the 26 townhouse units and associated parking. Near the middle, you can see parcel 1, which also has a common area and some other parking. This is where the mailboxes are. And then the parcel for your consideration tonight is the parcel in the front, and you'll have to forgive me, there is a blurry note there, but the note basically says that what was shown there as a 1-story commercial office space was conceptual, a possibility for future development. It was not part of the development plan per se, and the note was more or less to guarantee that at such time of development, the applicant, the developer, would ensure that the stormwater maintenance facilities on site could handle whatever was to be developed on that parcel. So there was never a condition involved that required the applicant to develop this parcel as B1 office professional. It's simply the underlying zoning. This is a little bit better, a little close-up of that. And now I can actually read the note, and it says, improvements within the hatched area are not part of this development plan. Any proposed structures or parking areas will be developed in a future phase of construction development of the commercial site may require additional measures for water quality. So this is really the current development as it exists. You have the common area in the back, that's where the gazebo and the grill is, the 26 townhomes, and the common area in the front. I'm trying something new in tonight's presentation. I hope it works. This, much better way than my pictures to demonstrate to you what exactly we're talking about. This is Village Park as viewed from Wythe Creek Road. The roads internal to Village Park are private. So if you enter Village Park from Wythe Creek, not from Valasia, I'm sorry, it is not pulled up for you. Joe, can you go to the maps? Let me see if I can get it to, I have it on the laptop, I don't have it on the screen. That's okay, because I have a backup plan.
Where is it originating from?
From Chrome, from the browser.
Do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't.
That's okay.
I don't have control of it back here.
That is okay. We have a backup plan always, and that is the pictures I took. So these are the townhouses as they currently exist. I think we've frozen up top, but you have in my hard copy presentation, if you flip beyond the slide on the screen, we are experiencing some technical difficulties, so I apologize for those at home, but you see in your presentation the existing homes, two-story townhouses, and the applicant has basically guaranteed that with city council approval, the additional 6 townhouses will be designed and built to match the existing development. On the next slide in your materials, you'll see a conceptual site plan of the subject parcel. Here we go. We are live now. So these are the townhouses that exist. This is the conceptual layout of the new townhomes on that parcel in the front, the B1 parcel. And you can see an entrance given there from the existing Village Park Lane, the associated parking spots and driveways. This conceptual meets the setback requirements, and you can see the 4-unit building on the west, a 2-unit building on the east. I attempted to overlay that in the aerial just to give you a little bit better of an idea how this would fit in with the existing development. One thing that is important to note is that in previous approvals, the applicant, a condition of approval was a 35-foot maintained landscape area in the front along Wythe Creek Road. The conceptual plan would not impact that at all. So here is the requested rezoning to R3, these being the permitted uses in our R3 multifamily zoning district. I've underlined 2 because the 2-unit building is, by our definition, technically a 2-family dwelling, but the 4-unit building is, by our definition, a townhome dwelling. Either way, it's permitted if rezoned to R3. This is the current zoning map for the district, and I've included, obviously, the layer in the GIS to show you that. What you see at the south is the general commercial zone properties between Wythe Creek Road and Victory Boulevard. The red, I would say, those are the B2 business commercial zone properties on Wythe Creek Road. The one On the left side of Wood Creek, directly south of this parcel, which is the only blue one there, that's Dominion Village. So just for context of where we're at. Right there in the middle of the picture is this parcel, and part of that is the stormwater pond in the front of the development, but it is zoned B1 office professional. It's held that zoning for decades. You can see there is no B1 office professional adjacent or near this parcel, and it is surrounded by, on that side of Wythe Creek Road, other R3 multifamily zoning districts that include the Islander Apartments, Charles Parish Drive, South Villasia, North Villasia. So the townhouses and the apartments that exist on Wythe Creek Road or off of Wythe Creek Road are either directly adjacent to this parcel or certainly in the area. Zoning and comprehensive plan considerations. I kind of just alluded to this, but the parcel is adjacent to the most concentrated R3 multifamily residence district within the city. Approval is appropriate concerning planning and zoning. What I mean by appropriate is you zoning this or recommending it be rezoned R3 wouldn't constitute or get close to what we call spot zoning, which is more or less an arbitrary zoning that has no benefit to the public or to the locality. It's surrounded by R3. Quite frankly, it's more or less out of place as it's currently zoned. You saw in my memo a pretty lengthy dive into some of the strategies mentioned in the housing part of our comprehensive plan. There are 7 of those, and this request specifically addresses 3 of them. I will take back specifically. Not specifically, but they're relevant to this application and are more or less satisfied by the proposal. We can go in those more in depth if you wish. The other relevant part of the comprehensive plan for this application at least is Chapter 4, Economics of the Comprehensive Plan. As it relates specifically to the Wythe Creek corridor, the comprehensive plan says the following: empty storefronts along Wythe Creek Road are a perennial concern among Poquoson residents. Any small-scale efforts to promote new businesses should attempt to fill vacancies in existing commercial properties first. So what we can take from that is continued B1 office and professional zoning would be in contradiction to the section of the comprehensive plan. This is a vacant, undeveloped parcel that is zoned B1, and we have vacant commercial space available on Wythe Creek Road. That's what this part of the comprehensive plan is speaking to. These are proffered conditions, meaning they are conditions offered to the city by the applicant as it relates to this application. The first is that the site shall be developed consistent with the concept layout provided. That is the layout I showed you here and here. If he was to add a home or intensify the request, it would not be consistent with the concept layout provided to you for recommendation and to City Council for approval or denial, and we would have to restart this process. And the second condition is that the architectural style of the new home shall conform to that of the existing development. So the pictures of the homes I shared with you more or less encompass each of the styles that currently exist, and we'll work with the applicant to ensure that the styles of the new homes match those existing at such time he pulled building permit. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have or have discussion about anything in my staff memo.
Thank you.
Thomas, any idea how that came to be Zone B1 to begin with?
I'm not sure of the history of it. I know that, at least from the 2005 consideration, if you remember, 2 decades ago, at least, there was a small little commercial, I think it was a trailer at the time, and it housed a few different commercial purposes. But the zoning, how the line was drawn previously, it almost split, where the bottom third, if you imagine this as one parcel, was B1, and then the top 2/3 was R3. How it was lined prior to the applicant's purchase and adjustment really wasn't conducive for any future development, just the dimensions of the parcels. That's why his original request was approved to shift the B1, the one B1 parcel to the front, and then the R3 to the rear. The origination of that, how and when it became B1, I would say comfortably, not necessarily confidently, that it may predate our becoming a town or city. It's just how it has always existed, at least to my knowledge.
Have any questions for Mr. Cannella?
I've got one question. With this the new 6 units, if you will, that go in, the amount of open space, is there a requirement associated with those 6 that are going in? Or does the existing, is it already there?
Right, it's there, and I say that, and I, actually, we looked at this, and I think the applicant actually is in excess of the open space that was required. But this, as its own parcel, will be, of course, included in the HOA, in the community. You have in your packet the letter from the president of the HOA who agrees to this and quite frankly welcomes it. But there's nothing about the concept layout that would not meet the requirements of the R3 part of the code.
Thank you.
So seeing no other questions, I'm going to open the public hearing. If you'd like to speak regarding this application, if you can come up and state your name and your address, please.
Wayne Marvin, 125 Shirley Road, Seaford, Virginia. Thomas did a great presentation, exactly what we intended for it to be. If you look at the green part that's left over towards the road, we've got more green space in this than we would ever have, and the commercial part, it would be all blacktop.